All right, and that's the acting chief executive officer for the Kenya Tourism Board, and also Jagat Shah, who is the chairman for Misumi. Now let's take a look at what else Kenyans are saying about the hospitality industry. Is it affordable, and is tourism that affordable? You know, when they want to visit national parks and then they're told that they're straying lions, I don't think that really tells the tourism story. And my guests here actually have got very interesting views in that regard. But let's take a look at what some of the Kenyans had to say in regard to tourism.
Simply because our security is in a better position now than it used to be a year or 2 years ago.
Compared to 2 years ago, to now, I think it's much, much better. But there's still room to be done. There's so many things to be done. I know our CS, Najibalala, has been trying to market our country across board. Before, I think the country was basically more of the West, but we're seeing more of the East now coming into Kenya. A lot of shipping companies coming in. So I think there's growth. For me, I think there's a lot of growth. What we need now, we need to look at, we've been having so many tourism in terms of guys coming to Mombasa and stuff, but I think there's also much which can be done internally. In terms of now, how do we actually promote our domestic tourism? Thirdly, I think I will also look at, there's a lot of medical tourism that I'm looking at countries like Rwanda and the lesser countries, Juba and the like. We can market our also Nairobi Hospital and the like. So I think there's like a lot to be done. It's just an issue of increasing the policy, ensuring that we follow the right rules, and I think God will be with us for the country.
What Uhuru did by going to France to talk about the ISIS situation and the Al-Shabaab situation, I think it will be a way to connect with our countries who have a problem or similar problem with us, so we can be able to bump up the security in the country. I think it's attainable. I think it's something that it's not just a dream, it's something that can be done.
That last Kenyan talked about the fact that, you know, domestic tourism has a long way to go. But speaking of domestic tourism, I think there are certain views that maybe we might not understand. One of the Kenyans talked about the fact that the straying lions are affecting the tourism industry, because what we are seeing right now is that when an international tourist hears that a lion has been killed, and they're thinking, must I go to Kenya if the wild animals are being shot at and are straying all over the capital city? So, Rosemary, I'd like to hear your views on this one.
Obviously not, apart from the fact that it highlights that Nairobi is the only city in the world that has a national park right next to it. But I think the issue to do with the lions is a temporary glitch, which I believe, and Mike will explain further, has been addressed by the industry did take up the issue with the Kenya Wildlife Services, and I think we will not be seeing much of this happening. Obviously, it is important to ensure that the lions are protected, not killed, because that is really very sad news. It doesn't go out very well when it goes out internationally, but I believe something has already been done.
All right, Mike, let's hear your views on that.
First of all, there's issue of human-wildlife conflict, and anybody growing up in the villages, I remember we used to view wild animals generally as a nuisance, because the elephants would come and destroy all your crop, your maize, your wheat and everything. So generally in this environment we've lived with wild animals very well over a long period of time. But as the population grows, then you find that humans are encroaching into wildlife territory, and obviously that's where you find a bit of a conflict. How do we deal with this? And Rosemary and I are just hospitality people. We are not conservationists, but our view is that we should first of all educate the public about the value of coexisting with animals, be they domestic or wild. And if we could do a proper campaign countrywide, then maybe take it a step further and show the value of those animals within the tourism sector, then it would help. The national park has been here for as long as Nairobi has been around.
Yeah.
And we've had just about 2 or 3 cases over the last 50 or so years of cats wandering out of the national park. I don't think we should be too alarmed. We should give the wildlife service a chance to do their job, and they've been doing it well over the last 50 years.
Alright.
So we should not doubt their capabilities now simply because one cat found its way out of the park.
Okay, let's now talk about this bed capacity that we have in Kenya today. Statistics from the Kenya Tourism Board show that the numbers stand at 60,000 bed capacity, and they say they need an extra 30,000 to make 90,000. But how viable is this? Is it realistic? Are we going to see the numbers grow? Are we less when it comes to this bed capacity? And are we saying, you know, we actually can accommodate more, but it's just the bed capacity that is limiting us?
It's generally the game. Let's take an example of Morocco.
Yeah.
Morocco is doing about 20 million tourists in a year. When you compare what is on offer between Kenya and Morocco, we are way ahead. We have excellent natural products.
Yes.
We have a beach, which the experience here is far, Morocco's experience is a far cry from the Kenyan beach experience. We have a lake, which doesn't exist there. We have few mountains here. There's just the Atlas Range there. We have the forests, Kakamega Forest. We have a natural forest at the coast. We have so many products that we can talk about here. The agricultural product, the sports product. And when you talk about bed capacity, you need to start asking yourself, what need is that capacity satisfying? In Nairobi, Nairobi has become strictly a business city. Business type hotels coming up. The numbers, the last time I checked, around 46 to 50% of the total number of tourists coming into Kenya are business travelers now. That wasn't the case in the 70s and 80s. So we have to cater for the business traveler. We have to cater for the leisure traveler. And we have to cater for other travelers. There is also homestays coming up. And you've seen quite a number of those along the coast. So in terms of bed capacity, we cannot say that there is an optimum number here. It depends on what number of tourists we want to attract. And if you recall, Vision 2030 had given a target of 3 million by 2012 and 5 million by 2020. That was the target. I think it was reviewed because of all the issues that came thereafter. So in terms of bed capacity, we should not look at it as people coming in to fill, to just build hotels that will stay empty. We've got to look at it as a development issue.
Right.
And also tie it in with infrastructure development, among other issues.
Okay, so the Serena Hotel as well is on an expansion move, just like the other big hotels. And there's been the issue of classification of these leisure facilities as well. Do you think that the classification is tying in with the expansion of these hotels for them to be able to meet some of the demands in the market today?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's very necessary because as the hospitality industry develops in trying to meet the needs that are there, it means like what we're seeing, as Mike has said, the Nairobi hotels, yes, certainly it's more business hotels. This hotel, Nairobi Serena, almost 70% of our business is actually corporate business. And that means we are handling a lot of international travelers who do know what the trends or what the requirements as far as the hospitality industry is concerned are today. So we have to make sure that we do meet those international trends. It is very, very important. You know, today's business travelers' expectations are very different from the business traveler of 10 years ago. And we have to ensure that we do meet those needs. And hence why you're seeing the hotels that are coming up today in Nairobi are in line with, you know, we've seen the new names coming on board, the international brands. And that is why, like, for example, for us, we have embarked on an improvement and expansion program just to make sure that this hotel, in as much as it continues to command a very strategic position as part of the Nairobi hospitality map, we have to ensure that it remains and that it does qualify to be an international level city hotel. So that for any hotel group, it is important to make sure that improvements in line with the ever-changing hospitality trends happens. And that's exactly what we are doing, not just here, but also in our other city hotels in the region, in Kampala, in Dar es Salaam.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's also factor in the issue of skilled work. Do you think that the skilled labor is up to par when it comes to the services that are being offered? Because we've also seen, you know, just like any other workspace, the hospitality industry as well needs to keep up with the trends.
Absolutely.
But what we're seeing, if somebody actually goes out to some of these facilities, you realize either the workforce there is a bit slow, you realize they're not up to par with technology, and so many other irregularities. But how do we clear this up, Mike?
It takes a minimum of 2 years to train one staff member. A minimum of 2 years. And I'm talking about line services like housekeeping, reception, cleaning, stewarding in the kitchen, and so on. Now, when you have a rapid expansion program like we did with Vision 2030, we also needed to think about training and how do people acquire this training. And what happened was we recommended at that point that we have a Kenya Utalii College that is in the business of, has been in the business of training from around 1975. But we looked at the number of graduates coming out. Hotel management graduate would have to undergo a full 4-year course, equivalent to a degree course. So obviously there are gaps, and these gaps need to be filled. But the good news is that the universities are now filling in that gap. You have programs being run by the University of Nairobi here. We have MOI, which has been running programs for, I think, the last 15 or so years. We have USIU, which is doing something. We have Catholic University. We also have mid-level colleges that are training in hospitality and culinary arts.
Right.
So what we would have wanted to do, and this is what we requested that we put in the law, is you can be trained anywhere as long as you go through a finishing school like Kenya Utalii College, or you're examined using the same standards.
But speaking of Utalii College, you know, there have been a lot of irregularities with that training college, and how actually the CS of tourism as well did mention how there's a lot that needs to be done to revamp it. But what exactly needs to be done? Is it about the trends? Is it about the fact that maybe they're not up to par with your training facilities? What exactly is happening there?
The facility, and Rosemary here, I think,